So Greatsword and Dagger. Greatsword and Dagger is stuns, stuns, damage, stuns, stuns, damage, and stuns. Now, if you guys are looking for a specific guide or a specific build, then look down in the description. There should be some chapters, and you can then skip to the one you want. So the first one we're going to look at is the PvE one. Now, with my gear stays the same for all of my specs at the moment. I'm not that juiced. I'm sat at around 3.2, 3.1, 3.3, depending on what skills that I'm using. The skills that we're using, we will get into the specializations straight after this, but we've got the Cruel Smite, the Ice Tornado, the Precision Dash, the Lightning Infusion, Umbral Spirit, Will Breaker, Frenzied Sword Dance, the Guillotine Blade, Cleaving Moonlight, Cross Cleaving, the Death Blow, and the Fatal Stigma. Now, we're using the Greatsword block for this to allow us to have the AoE stun and then the AoE damage afterwards. And then the passives, we have Robust Constitution, Victor's Morale, that's not fully leveled. We have Barbarian's Dash, the Indomitable Armor, Assassin's Step, Raging Frenzy, Assassin's Instincts, and Wrathful Edge. So this is our AoE PvP build. And then specialization, we have some more damage with our Cruel Smite. We have the damage increased once we use it for the next 2 seconds. Once you do a stun, you can follow it up with a Guillotine Blade or a Death Blow, and it does a lot more damage. Da Vinci's Chill, we have the Ice spec on there, so it slows people down, and it can apply a Icebound or a Root. The duration is increased for more damage. The duration is increased, so it keeps our attack speed up for longer, and the instant healing, so it recovers our health quickly. The Ice Tornado, again, is applying a Ice weaken onto them, so it's a speed decrease. Increases all your CC resistances, so once you're spinning, you can hopefully withstand some stuns. This is obviously against PvE. Deals bonus damage. Frost Cleaving, so this is the Gaia Crush. This now changes to the Frost Cleaving, so instead of it doing a line attack now, it will do a 360 AoE. The attack speed increased by 15%, which also stacks with your Da Vinci's Chill. And then your skill critical hit increases by 300, so it's just more damage. Your Will Breaker will apply a weaken to a 360 degree area. And if you hit an enemy, it also reduces their magic melee or ranged evasion. And then the Guillotine Blade, we just have a heavy attack, deals more damage. Nice and simple, nothing too crazy in the PvE build. The daggers, we have Cleaving Moonlight, allowing us to do it twice. We have the Lightning Infusion, so it stacks Thunderclouds rather than poison. And then the Fatal Stigma will do an AoE damage once the Stigma pops. So it's a very buffy build, and you can use your Lightning Infusion, your Umbral Spirit before you open. You can then use your Will Breaker to use a weaken to weaken all the targets. You then have the choice to either Ice Tornado if they're all around you. Once you've done the Ice Tornado and it builds up 20 stacks, you can use your Fatal Stigma and then follow it up with Frost Cleaving. And then you still have your Frenzied Sword Dance, which is going to take me everywhere. You still have your Death Blow, your Guillotine Blade, your Cleaving Moonlight, which does AoE targets. And then you're back to the start of your rotation. The next build that I'll be using is the one target PvP. Now, it is very similar with a few things changed. The passives do remain the same, other than the Victor's Morale, so it gives you a regen. We go for the Cold Warrior, which increases your magic melee and ranged heavy attack chance. The spells that we use are Cruel Smite, Precision Dash, the Stunning Blow, Brutal Incision, Da Vinci's Courage, Guillotine Blade, Cleaving Moonlight, Ascending Slash, Shadow Strike, Ankle Strike, Death Blow, Camouflage Cloak, and then to finish it off, your defensive skill would be the Block Blade, meaning your dagger block. This will allow us to, if you do a The stationary block allows you to then put poisons and stack on your target. Then the moving block allows you to get an invis and completely reset the fight, which is huge. Specializations we have on the single target PvP. Cruel Smite, attacking 3 times and the damage goes up. You have a skill boost damage after you use the ability. So you could use a stun into a Cruel Smite, into a Cleaving Moonlight, for an example. Your Precision Dash has a chance to bind them now, and it also weakens the target's shield block by 30%. The Stunning Blow, I have decreased cooldown. I have a skill damage boost after the stun, and an extra stun duration. The Death Blow is on a cooldown decrease. Da Vinci's Courage allows for damage reduction and an instant heal. Ascending Slash gives me extra skill damage once after I use this, so it'll be a good follow-up with Death Blow or Guillotine Blade. And the duration for the Collision Prone has been increased. And then Guillotine Blade deals a lot more damage and a lot more damage on the AoE if it has a heavy attack. Now I could swap these over depending on if we're just doing small target PvP or single target PvP, but a heavy attack AoE is pretty damn useful sometimes. For the daggers, we've got Cleaving Moonlight being able to use twice. The Shadow Strike bind duration has been increased, and the Camouflage Cloak duration has been increased by 2 seconds. I did have Frenzied Sword Dance on, but I realized that I'm not using it anymore. With your single target PvP, the rotation is, rotations can change, but your rotation in this is pretty simple. You jump on them, you stun them, you knock them down, you deal some damage. Once they get up, you stun them, you knock them down, you deal some damage. Greatsword is a bit of a problem, but, just become part of the problem, I guess. Now, typically, you can't really knock these down, but to do it slowly, if I show you the rotation that we use, and see if it works for yourself. Obviously, this could change, and it probably will change depending on what gear we have or what stage the game's in. So to start off, we would either use the Precision Dash. We could use the Precision Dash or the Shadow Strike. Once we pop that, if the stun hits, so you see the chains go around them, you would then either use your Ascending Slash or your Ankle Strike to then knock them down. If they are knocked down, I then usually follow that up with a Cleaving Moonlight and a Death Blow. Now, the reason I don't rush for a Guillotine Blade is because now, if you're playing against really active players, or if you're playing with people that have put money into the game, at this point now, people will have the Purification Stone. The Purification Stone will allow you to break chains of CC, and it's on a 2-minute cooldown. What they would usually do is on the first stun, as soon as you do the first stun, they will use the Purification Stone, and then they would just break the stun. So what I want to do is try and bait them out of it. So I would use my Shadow Strike, my Ascending Slash, my Cleaving Moonlight twice, my Death Blow, and by this point, they've either broken the CC or their character is standing back up from the original knockdown. As that one is now over, we can then use our Stunning Blow, and then use our Ankle Strike, and then we can use our Guillotine Blade, and that does a lot of damage between, I'd say, 5 to 10k on players, and we've had hits up to 25 to 30k in PvE. But again, stun, knock them down, hit them a few times. By the time they get back up or they use the Purification Stone, you can then use your Stunning Blow. Your cooldowns are back up, your Death Blow is back up, the Shadow Strike is back up, you're knocked down, then you can use your Guillotine Blade again. Whilst you're doing this damage, you can also push in a Cruel Smite, the Death Blow whenever it's off cooldown. Now, your Brutal Incision does a lot more damage if your character's target is below 50%. So once they get to 50%, you can then start using this, but I would still use it even at the start of the fight, depending on how many people you're fighting or how many people you're fighting with. If this is going to be a long fight, then you can use it straight away. But again, as soon as your stuns are up and your knockdowns are up, use them because you do a lot more damage. You can use your Da Vinci's Courage to give you some attack speed and give you some health. If you've been jumped, you want to make sure when they are stunned, you use your Ascending Slash or your Ankle Strike. If you miss the stun and you use your ankle strike, it does nothing. Once you've done your full rotation, you've done all your damage, you've got them as low as you can, and this is the point where they stand up and turn on you. A well-timed dodge, especially with a dagger defensive skill, a well-timed dodge will get you invisible and allow you to reset the fight and start again. Now, last but not least is the guild v guild, or, you know, bigger battles. So this would be more for your boonstones, your rift stones, your conflict bosses, and the open dungeon conflict times. So the night times in, say, Saradoma, Shadow Crypt. Now, in this build, you're going to see some similarities, but you're going to see a few different changes. And with the passives, I've kept them all the same. I really like my passives. I'm comfortable with my passives. So to fly through them, we've got Robust Constitution, Barbarian Stash, Old Warrior, Indomitable Armor, Rage and Frenzy, Assassin's Step, Assassin's Instincts, and Wrathful Edge. Now, the Guild v Guild active spells are still being tweaked. They still change from time to time. You've probably noticed they've just changed then. But with this, it's more about your AoE stuns and being able to help the team in a fight, trying to put as many stuns out as you can, some AoE damage, trying to survive, and then helping with some defensive cooldowns as well. So we have the Lightning Infusion, the Precision Dash, the Stunning Blow, Brutal Incision, Da Vinci's Courage, Guillotine Blade, Devastating Smash, which we'll get into, Cleaving Moonlight, Shadow Strike, Frost Cleaving, which we will also get into, Death Blow, and Phantom Smokescreen. Now, with these, I'm still tweaking these. I'm still trying to work them out. I've still got Willbreaker here, and I'm not sure where to put it or where to use it. Maybe get rid of Phantom Cleaving, but at the moment, if we ignore this, so we've still got some points to use. Stunning Blow, the cooldown is decreased, and the stun duration is gone up. Da Vinci's Courage will have an extended duration, damage reduction, and an instant heal. So that is for all of your party. Max health, health regen, attack speed, and an instant heal. Frost Cleaving will do more damage and slow the targets down. And it will also increase the attack speed again by 15%. So that's stacking with Da Vinci's Courage. Devastating Smash has an increased stun chance. And then the stun duration is also being increased. The Cleaving Moonlight now applies Thunderstorms and can be used twice, but that has been taken out as... Oh no, it's still there, it's still there. Your Shadow Strike, the bind duration lasts longer. Your Inject Venom has now turned into the Lightning Infusion, now applying Thunderclouds, and the Thunderclouds reduce the melee ranged and magic endurance. And then the Phantom Smokescreen has an extended duration of an extra 1 second. So this has been my build for large scale. So more than 6 people if you're using 2 to 3 parties if you're playing 2 to 3 parties against another 2 to 3 parties, then this build has been my build of choice. And with the rotation, before we get into the rotation, we're going to talk about Devastating Smash and Frost Cleaving. Now, I see this a lot in PvP builds, and the only builds I personally think these should be used is in large-scale PvP. If you're using this in small-scale PvP or single-target PvP, I think they're wasted. The reason being, Devastating Smash, especially in a 1v1, once you use this, is probably one of the easiest abilities to dodge because it has a huge leap and they can just dodge out the way. Don't get me wrong, if the dodge works, it's fantastic. Sorry, if the stun works, it's fantastic. But if they do dodge it, you are pretty much stuck in the middle and you've wasted one of your stuns. Again, if the stun works, it's fantastic. If you're in group PvP, then there's more chance of you hitting this stun. So with these moves, you have some similar moves, so we won't go over those. But the only different moves that we've really got are the Devastating Smash, the Frost Cleaving, and then the Lightning Infusion is back from the PvE build. But the PvP build on this is just to try and get as many weakens on everyone in the area as much as possible. So you would pop this first, you would then use your Devastating Smash, use your Frost Cleaving, maybe your Cleaving Moonlight as well. And this has put debuffs on all the targets. And obviously this goes up to 20 stacks. And even if you don't target one person, it's still going to hit other players too. Obviously none of those did. But you can see they all have the debuff, reducing the endurance and reducing their chance to block any abilities. Now, with these 3 builds, they're not perfect. They are still a work in progress, but I'm getting a lot of questions and a lot of tips and tricks on how to use the builds or what builds I would then prioritize. And hopefully these are working for you guys. If you guys are playing Greatsword and Dagger, you have a lot of experience, or you have some experience on different abilities or something that you're using, please either pop down to the stream, which is twitch.tv/AsUK, or please come and write a comment down below in the video. So hopefully we can look into that and maybe make a follow-up video on that. That is going to be me. It's a quick, short video. I am 14 days into a subathon at the moment, so I'm sleep deprived, and we are playing nothing but Throne of Liberty. So if you're interested, come pop by and come and hang out and come and try and learn with us. Thanks for watching. You take care, and I'll see you in the next one.